know that in the United States, the amount of teens who struggle with anxiety has increased to 8.5% last year? And to add on to that, did you know that nationwide, teen suicide increased 32% in the past 4 years? 32%. Lastly, only 66 of adolescents in the US aged 12 or 17 live with both parents. Now, these are all statistics that are terrible, but what do all these have in common? A lot more than one might think. And one of the biggest ties between these three statistics is the good old parent-teen relationship. You see, we live in a world where it's so common to see teenagers and adolescents struggling with their relationships, and their relationships with their parents too, not just with their friends, but also with their relationships with their parents. And I myself, as a teen, have seen this topic from honestly both sides of the glass, from the parent side and from the teen side. For example, some parents claim that their teens don't follow their instructions and that they instead lead a rebellious lifestyle. Some other teens claim that their parents don't listen to them and that they don't give them a chance to make things right. I've seen teens getting fussy and dramatizing things by exaggerating their parents' threats to take away something like social media, etc. But I have also seen parents acting as if they're the kids, not responsible, mature adults. I have seen both sides, where the adults are sometimes bigger kids than the teenagers, and the teenagers are sometimes not exactly understood well. So from my point of view, being a responsible teen and a responsible parent, they're not so different after all. It's how you handle yourself and others, and how you treat your relationship that matters. My parents and I talk about this all the time. And when we do, we always mention how a good and healthy parent-teen relationship, it's like a tango, right? The tango dance, it takes two. You always hear the phrase, it takes two to tango. That's exactly like how a parent-teen relationship works. It takes both sides, the parents and the teen, to start doing their part to make the relationship work. It will not work with just the parents trying to earn their kids' trust, but it also won't succeed with just the teenagers trying to earn their parents' trust. I mean, that could work, but in my opinion, it takes both. And so for me, I am so blessed to have amazing parents who have always loved me and supported me. But most young people do not have that. Most young people do not have the amazing relationship with their parents that I can say I have, but not a lot of teens do. Even regular kids, teenagers, not a lot of tweens have that either. Now, before we get into talking about how to start developing a better parent-teen relationship, I think that we need to talk a little bit about the why first. Why is it important? Why should we work hard to make sure we have a close-knit relationship with our parents and or our teens, depends on who's watching this. I think that it's important to know why. We always talk about, be close with your kid, or, if you're a teen, be close with your parents. They know what's best for you. And it's like, you need to know why before you can start actually making attempts at creating a good relationship. So there are many reasons. One is all the facts that I mentioned earlier. Anxiety, depression, teen suicide, those are all unfortunately on the rise in the US. And that can be due to many things. It's not just because of lack of relationship. It can be bullying, bad influence, it can be guilt, previous trauma, it can be so many different things. And oftentimes it's a conglomeration. In fact, my daddy is working on a basically an amazing, huge, full feature film project that I am so happy to be the lead in, Box in the Basement. And we deal with those kinds of things. But one of the healthiest and easiest ways to help someone who is going through those struggles of life, is to, of course, grow a relationship with them, right? Like if you, as a teenager, say you're a teenager. If you are, then you are. If you're not, then pretend you're a teenager for a moment. Think about it. Say you're going through a tough time. Wouldn't you want someone that has a relationship with you, whether it's your, someone you know, or your best friend, or some other classmate, or whatever, somebody your age, whatever, or even your teacher, somebody that you have a relationship with? You would want to be close to them. You would want to ask them for help, for advice, for tips. You'd want to just be around that person and soak up that energy, so to speak, right? Wouldn't you want that? And even as an adult, if you're an adult, it is common to get that kind of relationship from people at work, from coworkers, from best friends, because adults do have best friends, and that kind of thing, right? So that's why we need and appreciate friends so much, of course, because they are incredibly helpful. They're great friends, and good friends can always cheer us up when we're down in the dumps. But right now, we need more than just good friends. We need good parents. In my opinion, we need a good relationship with not just, our friends, our best friends, the people that are our age that we know from school or whatever. We need good relationships with our parents, because we are seeing the facts. Just like what I mentioned earlier, so much is going on the rise, and so much anxiety, depression, all that is on the rise, and we do not have those relationships. That's one of the many things that causes that. And, there is nothing like the relationship between a child and their parent or parents. And it has always been, in my opinion, one of the most significant relationships one can ever have. So another reason for the importance of good parent-child relationships is one of the many exciting topics of this Youth Education Summit that I am so honored to be speaking at, which is entrepreneurship and exploring new opportunities. Now, I'm always excited to talk about entrepreneurship, because I love entrepreneurship. I love businesses. I love, I just not too long ago, because of COVID-19, we have had to do a lot of so to speak, not doing chamber mixers or business chamber mixers, or even doing more virtual chamber mixers than anything. And so because of that, then it's been really, really like, oh man, I want to meet people, and I want to just go back to that quote home that I always feel like I'm at home when I'm doing chamber mixers or going to chamber mixers or events with my parents, because we're entrepreneurial people, right? Now, for entrepreneurship and how it relates to parents and teens and the relationship, most of us aren't just born into this world to start new opportunities and new entrepreneurial endeavors. I mean, we need some confidence boosting first, right? We need somebody to say, hey, you're doing an awesome and phenomenal job at this. What if you made this into a business, And that's what parents are there for. That's definitely what friends are there for, but the first people who do that in one's life are generally, and hopefully in my opinion should be, the parents. And to help boost our confidence, support us, and help us as we start academic or entrepreneurial endeavors and activities, so that by the time that they're older, they can simply just let go of the wheel and let the teens take over, but only because they've been trained well in the first place. That's the catch there. It reminds me of kind of my story, as for how I got into the writing business, because I do many things, but my parents, I'm a writer, I'm an Amazon bestselling and triple author, and my parents got me into the writing business because I said one day, and about 4 years old, in the cutest little 4-year-old voice, I said, I want to be an author when I grow up, yay! And they were like, oh, that's great, that's awesome, but why when you grow up? Why not wait? And why wait? More like, why wait? Why not start now? That was their question, because I said I wanted to be an author when I grew up, but why when I grew up? And so I was like, wow, that's amazing. I was so motivated by that. So I decided to keep going and get started with my writing. And so that was all because of my parents. And that was all because of the opportunities and the support that they gave me. And I know for certain that I wouldn't be writing as much without that relationship with my parents. By the way, after all this, you might still be wondering who I am and possibly even more curious at the whole Amazon bestselling thing. So let me just introduce myself real quick. I'm Arianna Fox. I'm a girlpreneur, as I mentioned, triple and best-selling author. I don't know if I mentioned double before, but if I did, it's triple now. Motivational speaker, actress, voiceover talent, and teen influencer. And I do, though, have only one ultimate goal, and that is to inspire others. And that is why I'm here. So privileged and humbled and excited to be speaking at the Youth Education Summit. So my parents, whose talk you might have already seen during this incredible summit, are Mike and Trisha Fox, and they've been marriage and relationship coaches for years. And they've taught me from a very young age about the basics of communication in relationships, from, marriage to parent-child relationships, really any kind of relationship in general. And so, I kind of know quite a bit about how important they are. And so it's so interesting because I have seen a lot of strangeness going on between teens and their parents, and I've seen a lot going on social media. And so sometimes it just kind of really leaves me wondering, okay, how in the world did we get to this point as a society? Like, it doesn't make any sense. For example, this is kind of a strange story of something that happened to me on Instagram. So someone I knew on Instagram, we can call her Larissa, had an account for what is called Bookstagram. Now, if you haven't heard of Bookstagram, it's essentially a subdivision of Instagram. It's a category, or as some people might say, aesthetic. And it's essentially for posting things about books and about reviews and all that kind of stuff. And so it's for readers, writers, overall book lovers. And Larissa, she was extremely upset one day because she posted on her Instagram story that she was very stressed as an ex-friend of hers, listen to this, this ex-friend of hers threatened to, quote, tell her parents about her account. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, that implied that her parents hadn't already known about the existence of her account. So I was very intrigued by this, and I didn't really know her well, but nonetheless, I just kind of decided to ask, why would it be bad if your parents knew about your account? Why would that be a bad thing? The content wasn't terrible or anything, and it was actually a great account. And Larissa responded to me saying that her parents are, quote, super strict, and that they don't allow her to post her face. Even though almost all of the reels or little videos on Instagram had her face in it. And to add on to that, she said that they, quote, would kill her if they found out. Obviously exaggerating, but still, in that moment, I couldn't even describe my emotions. As someone who has always had a close relationship with my parents, I honestly felt so shocked that there would be such a level of secrecy and such a level of, just no trust at all between them. But unfortunately, that kind of secrecy is all too common. And as teens, we may often feel like we have things that we want to hide from our parents because we're maybe embarrassed that somebody else will be looking over our stuff. But trust me, and this is coming from a teen here, but trust me, it is not worth it to keep secrets. Not at all. It is not worth it. So what can we teens do, right? Since my parents already touched on what parents can do to help their teens, how we, kind of the work-life balance and all that stuff, what can we as teens do to help foster a healthy relationship with our parents, right? Well, one is to start opening up more. Maybe kind of hard, but if we really want to have a stronger relationship with our parents, we have to start by responsibly owning up to our faults on our own. And asking, what can we do? What can we do to help each other grow and help each other grow closer? That's really the biggest thing. If there's something extra that you can do or something that you need to apologize for or take responsibility for, in my opinion, this is just coming from me, but I suggest that you do that as soon as possible. And not only will that help your relationship with your parents, but it will also show a sense of maturity as you grow into adulthood. So, for the parents out there watching this, because I want to kind of have both sides here in case, depending on who's watching, how can you help your teens open up more? You may be wondering that, like, how can I help my teens to open up more? How can I be a better parent? All that stuff. Well, coming from a teen, it's certainly a fact that when your teens feel like they have to hide something from you, it causes a huge rift in the relationship. So to start ensuring that your teens can, have a good foundation and can copy what you're doing, because just so you know, teenagers they like to copy off of people that they admire, whether that's teenagers, their friends, celebrities and role models, gotta keep an eye on those, and also, yes, their parents. In fact, their parents are probably the first two people that they copy, that teens copy off of, or even children in general. So one thing that we can do, or that you can do as parents, one tip is to make sure that you are being open and honest with your kids, right? Because if they see that, they'll feel even more free to be open and honest and transparent with you. So yeah, definitely start that off. Now, we learned a lot today, right? We learned that it takes two to foster a healthy parent and child relationship, and that it's never all on the parents or all on the teens. It takes two to tango. Secondly, we learned about how and why a healthy relationship is important in the first place, right? It provides comfort, help, support, and a refuge when you're going through tough times. Just a fact. And it can also help strengthen us when others put us down when we reach for entrepreneurial success. Now, we also learned that one of the most important keys for an open and healthy relationship is transparency and communication. Of course it is. Always is. Keeping things open and honest with no secrets, that's totally the way to go, whether it's in a parent-teen relationship, parent-child relationship, parent-to-parent as in marriage relationship, and even like something normal like friendship or coworker acquaintanceship, right? No matter what kind of relationship you are having with anybody, it's important to have communication. Always is. Now, lastly, we learned that whether we're a teen or a parent, it is still up to us, or shall I say, it is up to you. Yeah, it's up to you to start the steps to make the family and make the whole relationship succeed. You cannot wait for somebody else. I want to encourage you that no matter what, no matter how young or old you are, you can make a change in your family, in your relationship, in your choice of influences, because that is huge. And that's a whole other topic all on its own. But in your choice of influences, to even in your choice of friends, in your school, even in your life, your career options, everything, you can make a change. You have the opportunity and the power to make a change. You have the power to choose what you want your life to be filled with. And it is completely up to you. You can achieve whatever you set your mind to. You can absolutely do it, and I believe in you, and I believe that when I say it. It may sound shallow, but I believe what I'm telling you right now. It reminds me of this quote from Marianne Williamson. She says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us." We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? So, right along the lines of what Marianne said, we are sometimes afraid of our own possibilities, our own talents, and other times we're afraid to fail. Whether it's failing in endeavors that we do or failing in relationships. A lot of us have failed in our relationships, whether it's with our parents, with our siblings, with our friends, and many others. We have oftentimes felt this epic, sad heaviness because we've failed. But yeah, maybe we have failed before. Maybe we have failed and we're afraid to do it again. Because I know I've experienced failure plenty of times myself. Trust you me, I certainly have. But when we're determined, and when we throw away all fears of what could happen, and we just try, then we can achieve our dreams. And that is in every aspect. Now, one of the best ways, however, to do this is to have that relationship. So to end this whole amazing talk that I'm so excited to have talked, so to speak, I want to leave you with a challenge. That's right. I want to leave you with a challenge. I challenge you to be the first one, whether you are a teen or a parent. Either way, if you're watching this and you're still watching, hooray, you get a brownie. But number 2, be the one to make the change. Be the one to change things in the relationship. Don't wait for the other person. I challenge you, parent or teen, to start the process, start the steps. If you are a parent and your teen is just like depressed and down all the time and you don't know what to do, start the steps to deciding to be more open and honest with your own feelings and emotions. If you're a teenager and your parents are feeling distant and all that, then make sure you reevaluate, okay, is there something that I'm doing? And if not, maybe is there something I can do to help? Is there something I can do to kind of ease the load? All that kind of stuff. I challenge you, once more, parent or teen, to make the change. You rock, dream big, and you got this. Thank you so much, and I am so excited for all that is to come. Arianna Fox, adios.